Hi, I'm Nathan Ninjamonkey. I make videos related to Japan, traveling around this amazing country, and more recently I've been keeping a close eye on what's currently happening behind Japan's closed borders, with a view to see when she might finally open up for tourists and any prospective travelers alike. I do the research so that you don't have to, and as always, all links to sources can be found in this video description in case you want to go down the rabbit hole and dig deeper. I aim to grow a community of like-minded people who can share their experiences and love for the country, including any tips that might be helpful, for example, when applying for visas or simply getting around the country. So if this is you, how about joining Team Ninjamonkey, hitting the subscribe and bell notification button to keep up to date with any future uploads. And let's get a conversation started. So say hello in the comment section, and I would love to know where you're all from and also your thoughts once you've watched this video. I do try to reply to as many as I can. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I do think that it's important to look at the current situation in Japan, as it can give us insights as to when the situation might change. For example, knowing that there is a current state of emergency in Japan means that Japan's eyes are currently looking inwards, trying to sort out their own state of affairs before reaching out to tourism or business travel. As soon as they start getting their house in order, then might things materialize for non-Japanese foreigners wanting to enter the country. Japan's current state of emergency in the Tokyo and Osaka regions continues, covering roughly a quarter of Japan's population, therefore affecting a third of its economy, banning restaurants and bars from serving alcohol, asking department stores and movie theatres to close, and barring fans from sports games. These restrictions will remain in place until May the 11th, but can always be extended. And on the topic of vaccines, something that I personally think could be instrumental and might actually influence the speed of Japan reopening certain areas such as tourism, study and business, Japan has currently vaccinated 3,348,013 medical staff and 141,706 elderly. Bear in mind that Japan's population is around 125 million people though. This is only an additional total of 972,674 people since my last update last week. And in my opinion, very slow progress compared to other countries who are administering this amount of vaccines on the daily. But with the aim of speeding up Japan's slow-moving vaccination rollout, the government said that it will set up large-scale vaccination sites in Tokyo where medically licensed self-defense forces personnel are expected to administer the vaccines. These Tokyo venues aim to be launched around May the 24th and will approximately be capable of inoculating up to 10,000 visitors a day. This far exceeds the capacity of other vaccination sites currently operated by municipalities across the nation, which are generally designed to accommodate about 280 people a day. Kano said the government is considering setting up similar large-scale sites in Osaka too, but these details are yet to be released. Things are also set to speed up later on this month with the ramping up of vaccine supplies through the weekly arrival of nearly 10 million doses. Prime Minister Kono said that Japan will soon be able to shift gears and proceed at full pace with an inoculation program that won't be compromised by a supply shortage. Hopefully, this will mean things quickly moving forward. And once again, news continues to circulate regarding the introduction of a vaccine passport for international travel. The passports are expected to be in the form of a smartphone app, with travellers scanning QR codes at airports before boarding flights or when entering the country. In what might be one of the first indicators of when business travel to Japan might resume, the government is moving forward with a plan in the hope of resuming business travel that was virtually stopped during the pandemic, joining the European Union and the Association of the Southeast Asian Nations and China. Additionally, Japanese business leaders and a Nobel Prize-winning biologists have called upon the government to reform its vaccination program, including allowing drive-through inoculations. 24 business leaders, including e-commerce group Rakuten's CEO Hiroshi Mikinani and Nobel-winning stem cell biologist Shinya Yamanaka, said a bolder and coordinated effort was needed to speed up vaccinations. The government and local administrations must not be constrained by outdated thinking and must make effective use of private sector expertise, they said in a statement. Let's see if this pressure put on the government by this group of business leaders has any effect on business travel actually reopening. Comparatively, Britain plans to use a National Health Service phone app as its COVID-19 vaccine passport. This will allow its population to travel internationally this summer, with Britain earmarking May the 17th round the corner as being the earliest date when international travel will be allowed for non-essential reasons following a winter lockdown. We will, however, need to wait and see what countries will actually accept this certification, and concerns continue regarding how it will be issued, forgery, and the repeated failure of government-backed technology projects. It is still unclear how such documents will be received by border guards across the world. And as we get closer to summer, things will begin to become clearer on this front. And as we get closer to the summer, things will begin to become clearer on this front. And as always, I will keep a close eye on the situation to keep all of you at home informed. So, side note, if you do like this type of content and you find it useful, please give this video a like, as it does actually help YouTube know that you're interested in this type of content, and will also help the channel out by getting this video to a broader audience who might also have similar likes. As always, you can also find me on Instagram and some of my other social platforms linked in the video description if you're interested in what I get up to on the daily. Don't forget to leave a comment to get a conversation started with me and with one another. I love hearing your thoughts and insight. Now, back to the video. Now, on the topic of the Olympics, we already know that Japan will not be allowing any overseas spectators to watch the Summer Games. But a new report now states that the Tokyo Olympics might be held without any domestic spectators too, with the decision that was meant to happen this week being delayed until June due to the new wave of infections in Japan. There might be a situation where we can't allow any spectators to attend. The only way we can call the games a success is if we completely protect the lives and health of athletes and the people of Japan, Hashimoto conceded in an interview. Hashimoto is actually a former athlete who competed at 7 consecutive winter and summer games in speed skating as a sprint cyclist. She actually took over the Tokyo 2020 president role in February after her predecessor was forced to resign over sexist comments. Additionally, the currently strict athletes visitor rulebook continues to be refined, and an updated version is yet to be published. This will surely clear up some of the many questions that yet need to be answered in regards to what the visiting athletes will be able to do once they enter Japan. So, how do you feel about the Olympics going ahead without any spectators? I think this might be one of the only ways to safeguard the country and athletes, but will also make for a very different and strange Olympics to watch on TV. What are your thoughts? And on the subject of Golden Week, which has just started and runs from the 29th of April to the 5th of May, Golden Week is actually a collection of coinciding national holidays that usually leads to one of Japan's busiest holiday and travel periods, with trains and sightseeing spots normally getting very crowded. As a result, the Tokyo government requested people to stay at home during the holiday period as a result of the current COVID situation. However, although not as crowded as normal, people have continued to venture out of the city, with the Tohoku Shinkansen bullet train running at about 60% of capacity, while the JR Tokai heading to Osaka, where the number of coronavirus infections have topped the nation for more than a week, was only at 10 to 20% capacity. And although fewer people are indeed travelling, we will have to wait to see if people travelling during Golden Week will spread the virus and what the situation may be like in the next few weeks. Let's hope that this does not turn into a super spreader event like what's happened in other countries. Remember that Japan is trying to get their situation under control, and every bump in the road will lead to more delays when it comes to Japan reopening for tourists and any other types of visitors. And in regards to visa entry to Japan, things have not really changed, unfortunately, especially now that there is a state of emergency. I went over who can currently enter Japan in a previous video, so please check that one out if you haven't already. I'll leave the link to that video in the video description. I will, however, continue to keep a very close eye on the situation and keep you informed when anything changes. A source that works for Delta Airlines has, however, mentioned that flights to Japan from the USA are being ramped up. So this is something to definitely keep an eye on, even though currently the US continues to advise people to not travel to the country, adding Japan to its do not travel advisory list at level 3, meaning reconsider travel. And even if you could travel, the likelihood is that you will probably not be allowed in. So that concludes the video. Thank you very much for being an awesome audience and watching all the way to the end. If you haven't checked out my backlog of videos, I recommend you do, and leave a comment there too. I've traveled to Japan many times, sometimes visiting some unique and interesting places that might inspire you for a future trip. I also posted a video earlier this week where I go over my golden rules for choosing a location to stay in Tokyo. So if you haven't checked that one out, I highly recommend that you do too. I know it might not quite be about Japan reopening, but there are some very interesting, useful tips for you to use. I'm really looking forward to returning to Japan too and making more content once I'm there. But in the meantime, I will continue giving you useful information. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's get a conversation started in the comment section. I do try to respond to as many as I can. Don't forget to like the video. As I've said, it tells YouTube that you're interested in this type of content. And if you've watched all the way to the end and you have subscribed, then welcome to the team. Till next time, arigatou gozaimasu. Gracias. Thank you. Bye.